Welcome to the Murfreesboro.com podcast, where we talk about all things Murfreesboro, Tennessee. Join host John I. Carey, his co-host Jonathan Harmon, and producer Trent Denson as they talk about all the great things happening in our city. From construction updates to local business spotlights to all the amazing events happening in our community. Listen in for all you need to know from Murfreesboro.com. Welcome to the show.
All right, hello, good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Murfreesboro.com podcast. Thanks for tuning in, as always. We have a great show for you today. I'm Jonathan I. Carey. Jonathan I. Carey.
Jonathan I. Carey.
I am not a Jonathan. I looked at you and said Jonathan.
I know. Yeah, I'm thinking, are you going honky-tonkin' after this?
I know, right? I actually like this shirt, and I was like, I'm going to try and dress a little nice today. But, yeah, I'm going total Nashville.
That's right. I love it.
Sorry. John I. Carey over here. Jonathan Harmon over there.
Hello.
Producer Trent off camera, and Jeff over there behind the camera, as always.
Counting down to March.
I love it. Every time you say it, he just shakes his head. So.
He committed. He said it.
You know what? There's actually a video clip that of Emmett with the BMX stuff, and there's a quick shot of Jeff in the background on one of your videos you did, and I was like, there he is. I was like thinking of sectioning out that little clip, and
yeah, it's a wild Jeff spotting.
It's literally 2 seconds, and he's putting together a bike.
Looks like Sasquatch.
We found him. Awesome. But we have a wonderful show today. Thank you guys for joining us. We got Brett and Roger from the Consolidated Utility District, the CUD. Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate you coming on here. So,
yeah.
But I love these shows because you guys allowed us to make a post on the Facebook page asking about questions. You know, people wanted to write in for it, to ask you, and people don't hold back. And you said, bring it on.
That's right.
I do appreciate you coming out here and doing that for us and answering all these questions. I have a whole list right here that we'll go through. We'll get to eventually. But
Perfect.
Yep. But Jonathan, what are you looking at over there? That's the annual report, right?
Yeah, this is the little annual report thing.
Mm-hmm.
And
nice.
This is pretty cool. If you guys, if you're on Consolidated Utility and you haven't received one of these before, you need to go get one because it's got a lot of information about your water. And I think it's pretty cool the work that you guys do. Obviously, not to get all like philosophical, but it is literally what keeps us alive where we are, and it's a big responsibility. So we were talking off camera about geeking out over various things, and with great power, with great water comes great responsibility.
Yes.
Oh, way to
slide that in there.
Yeah,
that was good.
And on that note, you just got to take a think about it. It is a utility, right? But it's the only utility that you actually ingest.
Yeah.
So
that's a good point.
There's
Often,
a lot that goes.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Yeah.
And there's a lot of work that goes into it behind the scenes. Everybody just takes it for granted, and they open up their faucet and expect it to come out. But we've got a heck of a team behind the scenes that handles most of the work, and then I just come out and talk about it. So.
Okay. Yeah. Well, and thank you again for that, because like you said, definitely judging by the questions we got, there a lot of misunderstood things, or people. I mean, I learned a lot of stuff in just 5 minutes of talking to you, before we started. So thank you again for that. But just get into you guys for a little bit. But Brett, I appreciate you reaching out on Instagram with us.
Sure.
So what's your official title with the CUD? What do you do?
Yeah, I serve as communications officer. Okay. So internal and external communications, that's what I handle, and it's been a joy from day one. Yeah. So you could not pry me from this workplace.
Oh, really?
It's been fun because there are so many things that it doesn't matter where you live, but you tend to take things for granted no matter where you live. And then when you find out the science and the work behind it, and you go, wow, you peel away the levels and you learn more about it, and you go, this is extraordinary. How many things we take for granted in power and water. And when you learn more about the work behind it, you become so much more appreciative of it. And my background is I worked in corporate communications, faith-based communications, and ad agency, and so on. But I have no desire to go anywhere else. Yeah. This is what makes me happy.
Yeah. I love what you just said there. It's things that people don't know or they take for granted, and it's water. And it's there's what really goes into the water system and everything.
Yes.
And we'll get to that. But yeah, so I was gonna jump into the questions. I thought, not yet. So, but Roger.
Yes.
So tell us about you. You're new here, right?
I am. I am recently. my wife and I moved down here in May. I became the general manager in May after the fourth general manager
All right.
retired, and so I am the fifth general manager. Yes, in the over 50 years of Consolidated Utility. So we're originally from right outside of Chicago. Spent the last 10 years in Central Illinois.
I thought you sounded funny.
Right. Chicago, man.
Chicago.
It's Chicago. I know a guy. I
Yeah, I bet you do.
I got a guy.
awesome. But, we became empty nesters, and we decided to, be one of the many that are exiting Illinois and find a better place to go. And Murfreesboro is it. I mean, we fell in love, and my wife is making a not honeydew list. I guess it would be a bucket list of all the things to do in Middle Tennessee.
That's quite a list, I'd imagine.
Get you a piece of paper or a computer and start typing. We'll fill you in on lots.
Yeah, there's the list.
Or don't. Maybe get through her list first, and then we'll add to it.
Right,
happy wife, happy life.
Absolutely.
So let me go through hers first, and then we'll come to yours. But, I've been in the industry for 30 years. I've worked for a municipality. I worked for Aurora, which is the second largest. Worked my way up from the ditches to the superintendent there. Went and did some consulting a few years, and then went in to work for American Water, a private company, water company, and did that. That was my last job in Central Illinois.
Okay.
And then came here, and now I'm reporting to a board. It's kind of a quasi affair, and I love it. My board is unbelievable, and they're very knowledgeable and well known in the area, and look forward to a long career here.
Yeah. Now, if you don't mind me asking, I just want to know more about it myself. I heard you had a pretty bad injury on one of your. Yeah, you mind talking about that?
Yes. Yeah. So really, it would have been about 3 or 4 years in, and I was a laborer. I was working on a water main break, actually, on a hole, down in a hole, and wall caved in on me.
Oh, no.
Yes.
Holy cow.
Yes. Ruptured 2 discs in my back. I was very lucky. It was only 2 discs.
Yeah, right.
Could have been a lot worse. Really, I ruptured my L4, L5, L5S1, had surgery, and that was really the cause of how I got to where I'm at today, is because I was laying in the hospital, and I decided after surgery, I didn't want to be in the ditches the rest of my life.
So wait a sec. You're in a hole, and it caves in.
Correct.
That's like the things nightmares are made of. Like that.
It is.
That must have scared the crap out of you.
It did, and now because of that, I'm an advocate for safety. I should have been then, of course, but that was early '90s. Shoring and everything wasn't as popular, but now my guys won't go in a hole that's not shored, and I've been an advocate for safety ever since, and. It could have been much worse, so I was lucky.
Yeah, doing some research on you, that was the one thing kept coming up, is you are a stickler for safety.
Absolutely.
Well, it's a little extra work, but the end result could be disastrous without that little extra work.
Agreed, and I tell my guys, and that's way if anybody ever is out there and seeing our guys, why is it taking them so long to do something?
Yeah.
It's because I tell them that if it's a 15-minute job, but it takes them 4 hours to set it up to do safely, it's a 4 hour and 15-minute job.
That's right.
It's, we're not going to cut corners. I want everybody at the office to go home the same way they come to work, because they've got family counting on them to be back home.
Sure.
So to me, I really try to push that hard.
Well, kudos on that. So I'm just curious, looking back on what happened with you, is there anything that could have been done different, you think? No, now, like with today, technology or safety measures or anything like that could have avoided that? Or?
Yes, absolutely. We could have shored the. Back then, we were using a lot of hydraulic shoring, and you had to pump it up to kind of hold the walls in or whatever. And this was a big hole, and they didn't think it would expand that wide. Now, our crews, they haul a trench box along with them, and they won't go into it. And so if we'd have had a trench box back then, even if the wall would have caved in, I would have been inside the trench box, and it wouldn't have hit.
And the trench box, that's the steel plates with the steel beams in between, is that right? And then
Correct.
set it down into the hole once it's dug.
Correct. Correct.
Gotcha.
So
Oh man, it like makes me cringe thinking about it.
I think about it all the time, and it's like.
So for those being claustrophobic, don't listen. So.
That's right.
Or at least don't visualize
Or don't
it.
visualize that. I'm seriously like, ooh.
That's right. That's right.
I want to ask a couple of quick questions about Consolidated that I think will help set up some of the questions that you got on the socials there. So Consolidated Utility, and you briefly mentioned this. It is a public utility. It is a private utility. It is a semi-public private. It is a nonprofit. Like, what's the structure of Consolidated Utility District? So, and who's in charge of it? Like, is it ultimately under the county commission? Is it ultimately under someone else? Like,
so it is not. It is its own entity, okay, created by the law in Tennessee. We are a public entity. I report to a board. We have 5 board members that are appointed by the mayor of the county. So that's why we have Rutherford County in our there. He is appointed by the county. However, the board will submit names. He will pick the people and put them on the board.
but it's not under the purview of the county commission.
No, it is not. We are our own entity, and so we are public. We are a nonprofit. We can't make a profit. Anything that we make goes back into the system. So our rates and our tap fees, our connection fees, that all goes towards paying our expenses as well as our investments, et cetera. So, and our debt, that we've had to take out over the years. So it's really an amazing story how CUD came about. And I don't know if you've got time to get into that or not, but
I'd say can you give us a
quick,
5-minute
quick
version?
elevator speech?
Yeah, that's
there you
actually
go.
one of my questions. So.
Right.
Perfect.
So back in the 50s and 60s, a lot of the rural residents of the county were having some problems with their water, their wells and things like that. So some of the leaders of the county decided to get together, and they ultimately formed 4 separate utility districts across the county. And then in 1968, two of those utility districts merged into what is now the Consolidated Utility. And then shortly after that, the other 2 utility districts within the county merged, and that is hence how we became Consolidated Utility. At the time, we were buying water from Smyrna and Murfreesboro. We didn't have our water plant or anything. So in the early 80s, they actually took out debt, built their water plant. It was a 4 million gallon water plant, was the first one. And we draw right off of the East Fork of the, as well as Murfreesboro does, et cetera. And that plant now has been built onto and expanded 3 separate times, and it now is 32 million gallons a day.
Ooh, dang.
That we can treat.
Wait, did you say a day?
A day? It can
Okay.
treat
That's a
32
lot of
million.
gallons.
That's a lot of water.
Yeah, right. That's a lot of water.
That is. So we do we pump over 1 billion gallons a year, and we're just growing about 3,500 customers a year.
Really?
Our guys are doing taps every day, and pretty much 300 to 400 taps a month, and so as far as the county keeps growing, it's really because we've been able to put water out in there that the county's been able to continue to grow. So it's really, that was one thing that brought me here. When I was at the city of Aurora, we went from around a town of 60,000 to a town of 200,000 while I was there. And so this is another opportunity where we're going from, right now we have 65,000 different customers. And, anticipation is, with the growth rate that, we're going to be up over 100,000, in the next 5-10 years. So,
Ooh.
And that's households, right?
that is
That's
households.
not necessarily individuals.
Correct.
So multiply that by however many
It's
live.
usually like 2.4, they say,
Yeah.
per people. So we're somewhere around 160-some thousand people that we're serving.
And so basically, prior to the 4 utility districts existing, if you didn't live in the city limits, you had well water.
Correct.
Or something else, right? A spring, or you pulled it from the river yourself, or whatever.
Correct.
And this was in the 50s and 60s, you said?
Yep.
So not really all that long
not
ago.
too long ago.
No, the Consolidated, like I said, 68. We just celebrated our 50th in 2018. So
Yeah.
next year will be 55 years. So we're a relatively young utility, actually.
And what would you estimate in Rutherford County? How many households would you estimate don't have your reach, are not serviced by you guys? Like, how many are there still out there? I know there's some that do not have consolidated water. They still have a well or a spring or a whatever, whether it's by choice or by y'all don't have pipes there yet.
Well, I don't know to put that offhand. I'm going to guess there's probably, because once you get out, the areas that probably don't have our water right now are probably the ones where it's, homes are few and far between going down the road because it's expensive to run a pipe for like 5 homes or whatever per mile, whatever. So I would assume there's probably a few thousand still, but we're doing our best. We've got a project that we just kicked off over in Christiana and down Parsons Road and some areas down there that we're going to be adding some more water main where there isn't water main. Our engineering group and our consultant, they do a great job of looking, and it's always been our focus as CUD is to make sure that we are for the rural customer, okay? So we want everyone to have our water. It's just the cost to get them all there and trying to get them there. My goal when I retire here is that everyone does have our water. So hopefully we can get to that. But every year we usually have 1 or 2 projects where we are extending mains where there currently isn't mains. So we look at those and we look at them very, very frequently and how can we get water there.
Yeah.
And I'll just mention right quick, he mentioned the Christiana project, and we actually just sent an email blast to that area that's going to be affected. So our habit is that when we have, whether it's a planned outage for construction or construction that is designed to bring pipes in to an area, we're going to reach out via voicemail and email blast. We're going to reach out however is best effective, and usually multiple ways to just let folks know, hey, in your area, we're doing this work.
Yeah. Well, that was a perfect, thank you so much, Jonathan, because that was a perfect segue into one of the questions that actually it's kind of like a 3-part question, which one of them you pretty much kind of already answered. It was, what are some current CUD projects, future projects, and do you have plans to upgrade any of the existing utilities? Those were kind of, they came across several times. So
that's one. Just so happens.
Oh, you came prepared. Look at this. All right.
I came prepared with.
Look, you got a chart and a graph.
This is last year's capital plan.
Dang. Okay, look at that.
So, and as you can see,
it's color coded and everything.
There's a lot of projects on that. So we just completed a pump station on Rocky Fork. Okay. We had a water main going down Rocky Fork as well. Some of those are over Burnt Knob Road. We did a job. So the one Baker Road, we're doing a water main job. We're also putting some stations in. It's a district metering stations. And those are throughout the system. And what we do is we've got software and meters that we put within the system. And it measures the water being pumped in each one of those, each one of those areas, as well as it takes away from the meters, so we can find out if we've got a leak in one of those areas or whatever. So that's a great one. The South Loop Phase 1 is the one that I just mentioned. It's Christiana, Miller Johnson Road, Parsons. We've got South Loop Phase 2, which is more Woodfin Road, Sledge Road, Kingwood Lane, water main replacement. We've got a Bill Rice tank, some improvements at the tank sites. Our engineering firm, our engineering company, our department, as well as our consultant, they do a great job. Our consultant's been with us since the district started. So,
wow.
Dang.
So he's got a lot of history here.
I'd say he probably knows a little bit about
just a little bit.
piping
He's built
in this
our
county.
system, basically.
We should get him on here next, too. I bet he's got some cool stories.
I bet he does. I bet he does. So those are some of the projects. And we do, like I said, we try to spend... we don't try, but we try to budget to spend $8 to $10 million a year worth of either new mains or water main replacements. Because when we first were created, we just tried to get water to all the customers out there. So we put small mains out there. et cetera. So now we're going back and replacing those smaller mains to put bigger mains. As the county's growing, we got to get more water to further parts.
Well, even material changes. I mean, the technology just in pipe
Agreed.
is so vastly different than it was.
Agreed. Agreed. And the cost of the pipe too.
Oh yeah, no doubt.
That's right. Yeah,
No doubt.
that was you got a bunch of projects going. Dang. All
Yes, we
that
do.
Appreciate you answering that one.
And I'll mention this as well. We each year after the capital improvement plan has been approved, I typically send a press release to the press and say, okay, here is a listing of all of our projects, and so Murfreesboro Post and D&J, if you're listening, expect a press release coming your way from us to show where the money is going, how it's being spent, the areas in which
Accountability. I saw that on here. Transparency is a big thing for you guys, as it should be. So that's
Absolutely.
great.
Yep. But we had it first right here.
That's right.
No, I'm just
You heard it here first,
You heard it
ladies
here
and
first.
gentlemen.
Breaking news.
Sorry, I just had to throw that out there.
Yeah.
But then there were, I'm sure you saw in the comments, there were 3 that kept coming up. People were more just curious about, like, why does sometimes the water stink? Why does sometimes is it yellow? And what is hard water? What can we do about it? That sort of thing. So,
Do you want to answer? You want
Yeah,
me to
sure.
answer?
Well,
I can
speaking
do
to the
either.
water hardness, in fact, I hear this under my own roof. My wife sometimes asks me, our water seems to be hard.
there you go.
What do we do about this?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, the U.S. Geologic Survey has a map on their website. You can basically type in what is, water hardness. My mic is kind of fading in and out a bit.
That's right.
I think
we
it's your
got you. It's the
headphones.
headphones.
Okay, very
Yeah,
good. Thank
we
you.
hear you perfect.
We hear you perfect.
Okay, very good. So the area, Tennessee is essentially a low to medium hardness state, probably more medium than low. Oddly enough, when you head out west, Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and parts
Is that
north
the red
of
parts
that,
on this thing?
exactly,
The red
yes.
part? Okay.
Those actually have substantially higher hardness. I'm not saying hardness doesn't exist; it does. It's very much part of Tennessee's water, and in
Well,
fact,
let me be
about-
really ignorant.
sure
What is water hardness?
calcium carbonate.
Okay.
So it's calcium and magnesium that comes from basically your limestone rocks.
Yes.
And there's
Oh, we don't have much of that.
Limestone.
No,
What?
what is that?
Every house here has a basement. And yeah. Right.
right.
That was one thing I couldn't believe.
Yeah. Hey,
Coming
man.
from up north, there
Yeah,
weren't
right.
any
Everybody has
basements.
basements up north.
I help
Yep.
people.
Right.
I help people move from out of state all the time in
Yeah.
here, and it's like we want a house with a basement. And I'm like, then you don't need to buy a house here.
Yeah.
right.
Sorry, build
So
a hill
like-
and then dig into it.
Yeah, build it.
That's it.
Build a hill.
Yes.
Build a hill. Then
So
cut
going
it
back to the hardness too, it's naturally occurring and it's in water. Okay, so it's okay to be ingested. It's not bad. You have we don't certain utilities may lime soften and soften their water. We do not soften our water. It adds a lot of extra cost to it, which then you have to pass on to your customers. So we average about 150 is what our milligrams per liter. And just for example, Murfreesboro, who softens their water, they're anywhere between 90 and 100. So it's not a lot of difference, but you can see it. When things dry up, sometimes you'll see the calcium that dries. That's the white stuff that
Gotcha.
people might talk about.
So like washing your car, eventually it builds up in your appliances
It can,
and those
yes,
kinds of things,
yes,
right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
So we try to tell people to clean to clean the filters and stuff. And a lot of houses have their own water softeners. They like it softer. People that come up north, they usually have water softeners. So a lot of people have softeners. So it's just naturally occurring, and so we do our best. It's not really hard. It's more a medium hard. So
I got you.
Well, I apologize for stepping on what you were saying. I wanted to make sure I understood what water hardness was.
Sure.
So you were talking about how it's much worse out in the West by and large.
Yeah, and it's a valid question because we do see it throughout Tennessee. It's just that if when you have calcium and magnesium, these in low concentrations actually do tend to be helpful for the human body. But we just want to make sure that it's not overly hard, obviously. But as Roger said, it is naturally occurring, and when you have such limestone deposits in the area. This is kind of part and parcel of living in this region.
I was about to say, aren't there health benefits like magnesium, certain levels? Yeah. They
Yeah,
sell it in little pills at Walmart. You know?
Yeah, it's obviously you don't want to ingest too much.
Well, yeah,
but yeah.
I know
but
they
in small
prescribe it
doses.
and things like that. So
Precisely.
I don't know exactly what it's for. I just
Can the calcium in my water supplement calcium from the milk? Like, is there enough calcium? Can I
I
get
don't know.
stronger bones from drinking
Right?
Consolidated
we fight
Utility water?
osteoporosis.
I don't know for sure.
We're going to put a disclaimer on that.
Yeah, right. Don't quote us on this.
Yeah,
but
That's right.
yeah, those Murfreesboro guys said it. Not,
That's right.
That's right.
And then there was another question about people asking about they'd like to know about the need for chlorine in the water and if they can remove the taste from that.
Chlorine is your ally.
Okay.
Chlorine basically cleans the water and helps to kill like 99.9% of all bacteria and viruses. Chlorine has been first used in London in the 1890s. It
Long
was so it was they recognized how valuable it was to protect the water supply. It made its way to the U.S. and right now about 90% of all U.S. utilities use chlorine. Ours typically stays in a range of 2 to 2.5 parts per million, and that helps us to scrub the water. Yes.
Okay.
Helps
Itty
us to
bitty.
scrub the water and make sure that by the time it reaches your tap, it's clean.
And it hasn't grown something on the way either.
Exactly.
Correct.
And-
It's your main disinfectant.
Right. And along with that, fluoridated water. So talk about that for a second, because that's been a really interesting thing as that's evolved over time for the dental world, right?
Yes. So as far as fluoride, many system, like a lot of well waters actually have a lot of fluoride in them, depending on where you're pulling it from. We usually treat we have fluoride, we treat it. There's been pluses and minuses for fluoride over the years ago. It was like, yeah, you got to add fluoride. You got to have it at this part, at least 1 part per per million. And it's for your teeth, for your teeth care. Well, now the health departments, right before I left Central Illinois, the health department in Illinois had lowered it they wanted it to be about 0.6, okay? We currently run about 0.4 here is where we run it. And it's good. It's enough to give you fluoride for your teeth, because too much fluoride, you can get the mottling of your teeth, et cetera. So we're on the low end of it here, but again, it's for your dental hygiene, and it's needed, and a lot of them will add a lot more depending on what your source water is. So
You think they get maybe some reports from the dentist and like, hey, we've seen a whole lot more cavities over the last couple of years. Y'all need to step up the fluoride game.
Yeah.
it might be a little more than that, but
Step it up.
Right.
Might try brushing.
Yeah,
That's
flossing. Yeah, flossing is your friend.
That's right.
Flossing is your friend.
That's right.
Yep. That was actually. Thank you, Jonathan. Did you read these questions
I did
beforehand?
not, no.
Because from that, people were asking, well, does that make tap water better than bottled water?
Well, I will definitely say the answer to that is yes.
Okay.
Okay. Bottled water doesn't have the oversight that tap water has.
Okay.
We have the EPA, we've got the Department of Health, we've got in Tennessee the Department of Tennessee Department of Environmental Conservation. All that we have to follow all those regulations. Okay, tap water, FDA, and there's a difference out there. Just so you know. If it says purified, it may be coming right from a water softener. It's tap water.
Yeah.
If it says natural spring, then you probably are getting some natural spring. But again, tap water, 1 cent per gallon it costs you to drink. So, your bottles, they last forever out there, and you're seeing
Bleaching and all kinds of things from the plastics.
Yep, from the plastics. So.
Not to mention, ultimately, you're paying for a bottle is what it amounts to, not for water.
Correct.
Convenience.
Correct.
A plastic bottle typically lasts between 350 and 500 years in a landfill.
That's crazy.
To your point, when you are purchasing bottled water, you are purchasing largely the bottle, and
It's made out of petroleum products, by the way.
precisely.
Have you seen
That's
some of
why
those?
we brought you one of these.
I know. Thank you, by the way. Thank you to the CED for this one. Thank you very much. Have you seen some of those documentaries like on Netflix that they do about the bottled water and stuff and overseas and how much I think it was India, one of them, but Oh my gosh. Like it was unreal how much plastic.
Well, and the difference being that we have a reliable, trustworthy, consistent, clean water source, by and large where we live. So, the need for that, it really is purely convenience and habit, honestly.
Yes. Yeah, no, I agree with you. And then I summed up a bunch of them into one thing pretty much here. It was people were curious about the how our step fields paved the way for residential development.
Boom, that's on my list too.
There you go. And I mean, I could go through them if you want. There's quite a few, but that was just kind of.
Oh yeah, let's talk steps. Yeah, man, that is y'all are pretty unique in that, right? I mean, there's not a lot of even other utility districts that do them the way that you guys do.
Correct. Go ahead.
Sure. So the step fields help to really pave the way for residential development throughout the county. You've got a lot of subdivisions that probably could not be built without those.
It's not probably. They definitely could not.
Be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Go back to that limestone conversation.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Limestone makes it difficult. Well, now we've got STEP stands for Septic Tank Effluent Pump. And these are naturally occurring materials that help with wastewater absorption and that are foundational for the development of those neighborhoods to be there, because it's a way of dealing with the limestone deposits in a way that you're able to handle wastewater absorption from a home and get it cleaned again.
It's essentially, for those of you that are listening, maybe you live in the city, a step field or a step system is basically a neighborhood septic system, is what it amounts to.
Agreed.
So instead of each individual house having its own field lines and leach lines and all that, it's a tiny sewer that runs to one place.
And you'll see these, large fields that are just large open spaces, typically bounded by a kind of fence. And there is often a small shed or a workspace there where we can go in and make adjustments to the machinery, manage maintenance as needed. So my neighborhood runs on that, and we've got, I think, last count, over 7,000 operating tanks and about 60 some odd subdivisions that are serviced by them throughout the county.
Wow. Okay.
I honestly thought it would be higher than that. There's a lot.
Continuing. It's an upward trend.
We've got about 30 more on the books. So,
wow.
When they all get grown out, we'll be in the 10,000s. And realistically, just so everybody out there knows, and I think that was one of the questions on there was, it's our responsibility. So the homeowner has the pipe that comes out to the tank. From that tank, they own that little pipe. The rest of it is ours. The rest of the entire system. The tank is ours. The pump is ours. Everything goes down to the field down there. We've got a treatment system. We've got sand filters, and we've got a UV unit that does the final disinfection and kind of stuns them, and then they go out into the grassy area where they can finally work its way down, naturally occurring. And so, we work largely with the University of Tennessee. There's a doctor there that's done a lot of work on step systems. We continually look at what's out there, but we have kind of taken the lead, and there's a lot of different utilities that come and look at ours and want to learn from us on those. And I'll tell you, coming from Illinois, I had to do my research when I was interviewing for the job, because I had, up there, everybody's got a sewer,
Right.
And so I had to do my homework to figure out what a step system was. And as I've gotten here, it's been another good part that I've learned about, and it's really without it, like you said, the county could not have grown the way it is.
I mean, it's impossible. I mean, when you look, and I've got 3 parcels of land listed right now, and one like 9 acre parcel that's coming, and that one, it was approved for a step system. Lots of things happen, but we're going to end up chopping it into some septic systems instead. But the thing is, that particular parcel, as a step system, we could have built 77 houses on it. Various things have occurred, and now with us going to a septic system, individual septics, we'll be able to build 8.
Right.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a huge difference, because
Dang.
each one has to have adequate soils for the size home that's being built.
Oh, that makes
And
sense.
instead, you consolidate
Right.
into one system, and
Right.
it's much more efficient use of that soil. So from a conservation standpoint, it just makes a heck of a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Agreed.
So that kind of goes into this. One guy was talking about, and sometimes you got to clear the land and different things and all that stuff. So doing it that way, the step system, you're clearing one little part versus like what you just said. How many homes? 77 to
77
to
went
8.
to 8.
So imagine now having to clear all that. So you're actually helping out the environment, it sounds like. I mean, like with the amount of land you got to clear and different things like that. Because one guy was asking about by Griffith Park.
So realistically, we don't. The developer actually is the one who is doing the clearing. Now we do the study of the land and we make sure there's enough soils there and everything, and so we know how much we actually need to be able to use this. And then there's always some additional soils that we have to keep for an emergency down the road. But ultimately, what we've found over the years is that if we don't clear it out and fence it at the property line, people that build next to it, if we would fence 10 or 15 yards in, all of a sudden they believe that's their property.
Oh, I gotcha.
And so we've had to go back on some encroachments and things where people have built sheds and stuff on our property. And ultimately, so now we're going around and we're actually moving the fence out to our property line, so that way people aren't confused anymore. So you may hear some people that have talked about encroachments and things, but because we actually that property becomes ours, we maintain it, we have to mow it, we have to we let some grow some hay and stuff on it, and to try to use it for whatever we can to give back to the community.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and some common questions that I get when I'm selling houses that are on it, it doesn't smell. It's just like a regular old septic system where as long as it's working properly, there's no issues. And you guys, when you check those sites, you're way more, I guess, detailed in your study of that site than even you would be on an individual septic. I mean, you're checking depth. You're measuring cubic space, not just square footage of that space, so that okay, realistically, this will support 77 home sites, and those home sites are an average of X number of people. I mean, it's like it gets really, really in depth. And the cool part is, and this is what I love about this system, is you guys help that developer figure out what to do. The developer turns around and puts that in their infrastructure plan, so it raises the cost a little bit of the development. But if we try to do individual home sites, we have 8. If we do a step system, we have 77.
Correct.
Right? And so they can build better, more affordable homes, get more density out of a single piece of land. And then once it's over, unlike an HOA, it's handed off to someone else that actually knows what they're doing, and they maintain it. And the cost is really, I think, reasonable for the homeowner. So what's a step system fee average kind of cost for a homeowner?
So it's and Brett may know better, but I believe it's $26 fixed charge and like $2,000.
I think thereabouts. That sounds pretty accurate.
It works out usually for the average homeowner. It's about $45 a month, 40-ish a month.
I think it's listed on our bills, if memory serves. Yes, and I think one of the things that I find most appealing about it is just the fact that you're using naturally occurring materials to manage the entire wastewater absorption process. So when we speak of what we call virgin soils, this is all part of the process to not have to bring in anything that's unusual or unnatural. This is rocks, sand, dirt.
It's already there.
Yes.
It's been there.
Yes, right. Exactly.
And I did bring that with. So the flat rate for the step systems is $28 per month, and then it's $2 per 1,000 gallon of water that you use. So most homes use about 3,500 to 4,000 gallons. So
I'm even high on my 4,000.
So you're probably high on that. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it just comes in on your water bill.
I don't think we've ever had a guest so prepared. Like, this is pretty
I know,
impressive.
man.
You got all kinds
anybody
of charts
that's on the schedule, check it out. Y'all got to step your game up.
Yep. And then just a few of the rest of the questions I thought were, well, for example, a lot of people were asking about the app. And just said, can you update it, please? You know, so are there any plans to update the app or anything?
Yes, and the app is relatively new as well. We've had a really good number of downloads. We've passed 7,000.
Oh, wow.
A little while back. Yes, we've done a good bit of promotion on it, but yes, as with most apps, there is always that continuous improvement process.
Oh, yes. Very familiar.
Yeah. So, but we've had really substantial adoption of it, and our IT director, in my opinion, is tremendous.
Okay.
I don't think I'm saying anything unusual, that he has the capabilities of a black hat, but acts like a white hat.
Okay.
In hacker terms.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Yeah.
So
I don't understand that at all.
He's very good.
10-4.
Yeah.
he's devious in a good way.
Yeah.
I got you.
And yes, he's
Yeah,
he's outstanding.
So Brett said we're going to be updating that. We're also going to be updating our website. You know, those are options where you can pay from and things like that. So, you know, technology keeps moving, and you know, we have to continue to grow with it. And that's one thing that we're really looking at right now, is what all do we need to do to grow with our technology so we can give our customers what they're looking for, you know. So.
Sure.
Okay, cool. Well, thank you for that. And then, you know, what this one is probably next. People ask about the fee.
Sure.
And why is the fee there?
It's a legitimate question, and this really comes back to data security. We don't have a, shall we say, a data security team. We keep our headcount lean at CUD, so we actually have to go through a third-party company that protects the data. Okay. And so the fee is actually paid to them. We don't keep a dime, much like we also don't take any tax dollars. Either. So, but the fee is, there's other utilities that do charge fees similar to this, and again, we're not keeping any of it, but we have to we have to work within the structures of the credit card companies. Also, this is backed up by federal law. The Federal Trade Commission does want people to have data protection.
Oh, yeah.
So even though that is not a true, in strictest terms, mandate from the FTC, it is a definite legal precedent that they set to get the credit card companies to require a certain level of data protection.
Oh, yeah.
For all credit card transactions. So, in other words, that I guess demand was passed on to us, and therefore we had to reach out to a third-party company, one that we felt very good about in terms of their level of security. They have to be compensated, and therefore we have that fee.
Yeah.
So if you look around the other nonprofits in the area, the county, when you pay your tax bill, you have to pay that fee.
Yeah, I got you.
You pay Murfreesboro Water, you have to pay a fee. Now the public, the MTE, Atmos, they more than likely slide that into their charge for your bill. Okay, we can't do that as a nonprofit. So.
Oh yeah, and you have to. If she's watching, excuse me, there was a lady who commented there. That question came up many times, and there's one specific woman I remember. She came in and commented on several of them that she used to work at another utility place and was like, if they don't have the fee, it's in your bill, you know, and they just slide the price. And she's like, they all do it, but it's like you said, it's for your protection with the data, so that's what that fee's for.
And I'll mention this right quick. I moved here from Birmingham about 6 or 7 years ago. Utilities down there were charging higher fees than this at that time.
I got you.
So,
so they're like making money on it type thing.
I don't know that they were making money on it.
I'm just kidding.
I wouldn't necessarily go that far, but the fees.
The fees were higher.
Now we do have ways you can pay without that fee.
Yeah.
You can do a bank draft. You can write a check. You can pay cash. You can do it in person or through the mail. But those are all ways that you don't have to pay that fee. It's only if you're using a credit or a debit card.
But that's for the safety of it. Yes, I got you.
Yes.
Okay. Now, there were only 2 more questions.
Okay.
And the first one was just if you could make the infrastructure maps available online.
Yeah, we can. We do have a service area map. We can provide some information in that regard.
Okay.
And
So some of it is for Homeland Security.
Okay.
Absolutely. That's
yes.
what I was about to say. You don't want to show
I was
like where
wondering about
everything is.
you beat me to it. Thank you.
Yeah.
And so we can,
That's awesome.
you know, we deal with developers and,
Yeah.
and like the county and the cities will share our GIS map with them,
Yep.
but they have to write agreements and and the fire
Okay.
department, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So normally if they need something, they reach out to our, if it's a developer that needs to reach out to our engineering department, they can work with them on what they need to see, et
Okay.
cetera. So-
How many miles of pipe do you guys maintain?
Oh, God.
I got this.
Good question.
Wow.
I am
dang.
prepared for
that. Was
that,
awesome.
Do you really have it?
Yes.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
man.
How did
do.
somebody not come up with that in the questions?
It's pure curiosity.
awesome.
I don't know how much time we got, but I'm going to just throw some quick stats at you
Okay,
guys.
we got a couple minutes. You're
From
good.
1985 to 2022. Okay. Back then we had 25 employees. We have 127 now.
Wow.
We had 7 tanks that held 3.5 million gallons. We now have 14 tanks that hold 24.4 million gallons. We had 8 pump stations. Now we have 21 pump stations. We had 2,000 valves. We now have 23,000 valves.
Oh, gosh.
We had 407 miles of water main. We now have 1,451 miles of water main. We had 9,000 meters in.
By the way, that's like the
Yeah.
distance from here to.
That's
It's farther than the distance
Like-
from here to Albuquerque, New Mexico.
I was gonna say
Ooh,
say
that's a
Colorado,
long
but
way.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
long way.
yeah.
And we had 9,000 meters then. We have almost 68,000 meters now. We had no sewer or step systems. We now got 67 that are in service and growing. And we've got almost 200 miles of sewer mains. And out of our 68,000 customers, 25 of them actually live in the city of Murfreesboro, and 7,000 live in the city of Smyrna. So their city boundary, their growth is in our area.
Wow.
So we're
That's
going to
impressive.
continue to grow. So yeah, I always love these type of numbers just to see how we've grown.
Come back in 5 years and watch us double.
Yes, I will. I'll come back in 5
Yeah,
years.
in 5 years. There you go. All right.
I have one more question.
Sure.
So, you're a big Wayne's World fan?
Yes.
Aurora, Illinois. That's where it
Illinois.
was,
That's where it
right?
was filmed.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, they only filmed like one.
The rest of it was filmed in California.
Yes, there's only like one scene filmed there, but
That's fine.
yes, Wayne's World
Awesome.
that's what we're known for.
Yes.
All right. Last question.
Okay.
How much is too much bread down the toilet?
Too much bread?
Bread. So how much bread is too much bread to flush down the toilet?
Good gracious. What in the world?
You know, I don't know that one.
That was a literal
You're not
question.
prepared for that one? Come on.
I don't have that in my papers here.
I'll admit, I saw that question, and my first thought was, please don't let him ask. Please don't let him ask.
No, I saw that question and went, I gotta ask that question. That was fun. No, that was just for fun.
I know.
That guy, he put a little smiley face or something. I was like, I gotta ask the question.
That's
It's-
right.
That is hilarious. I guess I would say it depends on what kind of bread it is.
True.
Is it focaccia or is it just like plain white bread? 'Cause it's-
Yeah, you got
Is it
Ezekiel
baguette?
bread.
Is it
you
a
got this-
baguette? Or, you know,
Yeah, an entire baguette.
We haven't even gotten to brioche, so
A bag. I'm sorry, just the visual. Oh my god. Oh, that's so bad.
Okay.
What a note to end on.
Wait,
Yes.
right?
safe to say, probably don't flush large food items.
Hey, can I throw something out real quick on a
Sorry,
different note?
sorry, guys. Sorry, everybody.
Please
watching.
do. Yes, please do.
Hey, to change the subject. Hey, I wanted everyone out there to know that we're gonna because of the EPA just changed the lead and copper rule. Okay. And as part of this, they are making all the utilities have to do a survey of their system on both the our side, which is the side before the meter, but they also want us to know what's on the back side of that, which is the homeowner's side.
Pipe content.
Correct. And most of this is based off of what happened in Flint, Michigan, and the lead and everything. So we're going to be communicating out to everybody, basically a survey and stuff. So the more they can help us out on that, the less we're going to have to actually do potholing in their front yards. So if they can tell us what they got, but we have to get back to the EPA and let them know what we have as part of the new.
Will you go pull water samples at houses? I mean, how
we do that now. We do that now, and we're lucky because the system's not very old, and lead, as you know, 1986 was pretty much when that was not used anymore. So a lot of our homes are much newer than that. So we don't have a lead problem in town, but we still have to come up and have to still have this information for them. But I just wanted to let people out there know that you will be getting communication from us about that. Okay. So I appreciate you letting me give that little shout out there.
Well, before we wrap up, is there, if people have questions on anything or they want more information about anything, how can they find out? How can they reach out? That sort of thing.
Just call Brett.
His cell phone number is.
Funny you should mention that. I always do give people my personal cell phone.
Oh,
number.
no.
No, seriously, I do.
Do you really?
I
Yes,
don't.
Because
I would not.
That's some customer service right
no,
there.
it's because if I had 2 cell phones, I would lose one of them. So it's better for me to give them a personal number. And the other thing is I want them to know that we're accessible at all times because we actually do have to be on call 24/7 for water.
Oh, well, yeah.
Therefore, I figure, okay, we're going to change expectations of what people should expect in terms of communications from their utility. So, yeah, I want them to be able to reach me personally. If they want to reach out through Facebook, CUDRC, we are available on the Messenger app, so you can get real-time chat from us. In addition, we also have a LinkedIn page, Consolidated Utility District of Rutherford County. We tend to always place our job listings up there, and for anyone who is considering work in a water or utility related field, this is an outstanding workplace, and we have tremendous benefits packages. So strongly
Good
consider.
Good boss too.
That's the rumor.
all right.
Yeah, that's the rumor.
He's all right, yeah.
So
He's from Illinois, though.
At least you'll be nice and safe when you work there.
so it's an outstanding workplace.
Okay.
It truly is.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys coming on and definitely being so willing to address the questions.
Yes.
Thank you. So,
Absolutely. It was fun.
You going to go home and test the theory on the bread?
Yeah.
At his house, not mine.
Can you get back to us on that one?
just the visual of that. Oh, my God. Oh, God. I'm going to think of that at some random point today and start dying.
Yes, you are.
laughing.
Yes,
Thank you. I had to call you up. Thanks a lot. Awesome. Okay, well, cool. Well, thank you guys again. We appreciate it. We know you got to get back to work. And to everybody watching, as always, we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. Oh, I almost forgot.
I was going to say, come on, man.
That's right. And make sure to go put a smile on somebody's face today.
There you go.
Have a good week.
See y'all.
Thank you.